Alright, my dude, round two. I gotta hurry this up because I gotta do a react of Silas. I mean, that's why I like react videos. It's like low effort, slow hanging fruit. I just react and just correct things or explain stuff. I mean, I'll let Silas do all the heavy lifting. I mean, it's way easier. But I blame Rainbow Hawk. No one snitch on me to Silas or Silas. Yeah, dude, don't snitch on me. Okay. All right, so it's a lot easier. Look, if you care, I mean, the whole trucker thing, I'll talk about it at the end because that's more like towards this part of the video. Yeah, dude, it's an obvious trap, but I'll talk about it. But we have to talk about this whole Mercury Rising. I mean, his accent is funny. Okay.
Mercury Rising. From, quote, the evolution of mad magic from cornfields to cyberspace, unquote.
Evolution of Mad Magic from cornfields to cyberspace. Yeah, I mean, they've been obsessed with this whole cyberspace thing for a long time, whether it be in the Matrix. It's a very Gnostic idea, or like, what is it, Cyberpunk or 2077, if you played that game. God, well, I mean, Johnny Mnemonic. There's been other things, or Ready Player One. I mean, they want to be technotronic god kings. This has to do with the Kabbalistic idea, like creating reality with the word vibration of the voice over the dark waters of oblivion, like in Kabbalism, the ability to alter reality through the power of the word itself into some cymatic word vibration, which is why you get this idea of spell crafting and speech crafting and NLP and stuff. I mean, yeah, it's a real thing. I mean, that's why to me, Latin language, especially when you don't understand its, etymology, is very dangerous. That's why there's like three types of English. There's black English, which is the real English. Lawyers use this. There's King's English, which would be more proper or scientific, and then there's a slang, which is what the general people use. Like the people in the South, you hear how they talk. They're all dum dums. Yeah, like y'all talk like this, and we like the cornfield, and yeah, dude, like stuff like that. Yeah, that's considered slang. So there's different gradations of speechcraft, which determines the elevation of your soul. So if you look at people from like the 1700s and read their letters that they wrote back home, they speak in a very proper form. Like everyone speaks like they could write the Declaration of Independence themselves. Yeah, the de-evolution of consciousness through speechcraft among the aggregate of men has basically devolved down and down and down and down and down. I mean, a great example is, no offense, Lindley, the way you talk. I mean, that is a great example. But I mean, it's whatever. It's actually pretty common these days. So I don't want people to feel bad. It's just the modern lexicon. So, and then yeah, from cornfields to cyberspace, they're basically trying to drop you down a level. Like the Kabbalists, it's like what's it? God, it's Omnicron with David Bowie. You're trapped into a video game. In the physical form, you're basically trapped of the spirit into the physical form incarnation of that of an animal. They want to drop you down below Malkuth if we're on the Sephiroth tree, but they have to create this sphere below Malkuth, and it'll be like a meta Malkuth, which is the whole point of this whole digital prison, which is the whole Bandersnatch situation, derived through the principles of Mercury, really in its perverted form. We notice that's the trans idea of Mercury through communications and social media and communitarianism and collectivism. Yes, this is actually a very negative aspect of Mercury. If you want to talk about, Leonel Levett talks about this like Mammon, which is like this whole god of trade. I mean, that's why whatever, I'll talk more about this. I mean, but it is a very negative aspect of Mercury. I mean, every planet has its positive and negative aspects, which is what makes this system unique. Upon the planets and then gets powered up through, it's cycling out through the astrologies and its connections with each other. So, I mean, this is why they study the stars, because this has astral, effects on you. For example, a great example is the moon affects a woman's menstrual cycle, or animals going berserk on a full moon, or the sun makes people happier. Yeah, simple things like that. And obviously, the other luminaries have their own impacts, but the ones closer to you has the most important impacts. Other ones on the outside, less, but more deeper aspects, especially with that of the mind or imagination or transformation. So,
By Nima, a disciple of Crowley, stated,
Oh my
Cool.
god, Crowley. I mean, are people going to ask me to read Crowley again? I mean, I said no last time. I mean, people ask me to try to, what is it, dumb down the Book of the Law for people. I mean, I understand it. Yeah, in order to read Crowley, I actually have to understand a lot of Middle Eastern stuff and Greek stuff. Like a lot of the stuff they just talk about, and was it the Book of the Law? It's like all about Dionysian cult worship stuff. I'm very aware of Dionysian, Apollonian, Orphic cult worship. That's more Greek. Then you should get into the Mycenaean stuff, because Dionysus shifts over his perspective, where he's more of a death god, which has some relationships with Mercury, but I mean, that's a bit further down. There's obviously older stuff. If you get into Atlantean, this is very similar to Roman, like Athenian stuff. So, or obviously the worship of Poseidon. I mean, that's where like real masonry and Rosicrucianism came from, Atlantis. So,
There is but one gate, though there appear to be 9. The mime dancer of the stars.
He's talking about the Sephiroth tree. So if you're not aware of the Sephiroth tree, it's that whole Kabbalistic tree of life.
How beautiful thy weft and web.
Isn't the reference of the tree of life also in the Bible? It's a reference to the Sephiroth tree.
A shimmering in the fire of dark space. The two that are nothing salute you. Black flame that moves Hadit. The less and less one grows, the more and more Pranu may manifest. Do thou now speak to us, the children of the time to come. Declare thy will, and grant thy love to us. Then spake she that moves. I hurl up upon ye, children of Heru, all ye who love the law and keep it, keeping not unto yourselves. Are ye a blessed? Ye have sought the scattered pieces of our Lord, ceasing never to assemble all that has been. And in the realm of the dead, have ye begotten from the dead the shining one. Ye then...
Yeah, this is the reference story to Osiris. I mean, this whole story of Osiris and Set and the cutting off his bodies and throwing to Isis. I mean, look, dude, I mean, you know the story of Osiris simply in your childhood. The story of Humpty Dumpty, alright? It's Humpty Dumpty.
gave
I mean, a lot of this whole game story, anyway, is collecting the real pieces of you that has been scattered and broken as the reality of this world has broken the soul through quote-unquote soul cracking. Really, I mean, that's why people, once they realize the quote-unquote truth, they try to reassemble the pieces of them that were themselves before, society, religion, the economics, mainstream, whatever, crushed them. So they had to reassemble and build back up what was really the real you. So, yeah.
Earth nourished him. Thy land of milk shall have the honey also. Drop down as dew by the...
Isn't the whole land of milk and honey also a reference to the brain and activation of the pineal gland to secrete, the Christos thing? Yeah, yes, which is really, DMT. So, like an actual DMT, which is far more powerful than, taking whatever substances, which is just a crutch, so.
Divine Ganander. Pleasure and delight lie in the working. The whole surpassing far the parts together, unquote. And from that same talk on cybernetics, Nima states, quote, through a field effect of empathy and telepathy, I can literally feel your pain, you can feel mine, and we can both link.
Empathy and telepathy, yeah, this is, in the old days, this would be considered like clairvoyant powers, but these days, probably connect the haptic feedback connector through your Oculus, Meta, whatever, and then it'll send back warm, fuzzy feelings or nasty feelings and a shock to you. They're basically trying to recreate the I guess superpowers that humanity's lost over time through technology as a crutch. I mean, you can do this normally if you actually try, but people are just trying to take shortcuts, and then it's going to degrade you over time. So I always tell people, like, people ask me, oh, Pink, do you ever take any drugs to astral travel? It's like, no. All right, I just meditate and then force my own pineal gland to secrete the Christos, the DMT, and then you can do whatever, all right? I mean, Robin Monroe says the same thing. He says, no, you shouldn't be taking shortcuts. And he says stuff like, oh, sugar is bad for you, but caffeine's even worse.
Link with large numbers of others who know how to teach us effective pain management. We filter the input of this telepathic sense. Our familiar physical senses edit the team and world for our consideration. Total immersion in the species consciousness is relatively rare, but the global...
Total immersion in the spirit consciousness. Yeah, dude, isn't this the whole, Yeah, dude, this is the whole Tower of Babel thing. Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude, isn't what's happening right now with the whole merging of the consciousness of man on a global aggregate level, basically just the Tower of Babel thing, pretty much, and then they want to use the collective consciousness of man and hold Sophia hostage to basically break out of this Earth plane realm reality through its computing power. This is a diabolical. Look, from what I've heard, this is sort of a diabolical plan by the They Live aliens and then the whole CERN crap. You talk about this is like La La Land, but they're basically holding humanity. Look, the devil is holding humanity hostage, and jacking up Sophia to a supercomputer and trying to use her brain power of everyone connected together to create meta algorithms and break DNA coding and then breaking the consciousness wave patterns of the brains to basically transcend humanity. That's basically the plan. Everybody knows about this. That's the whole point of the sentient world simulation, the digital twin crap. They want to create an alter ego version of you and the digital twin and hope that if people attach to their materiality form, that eventually, if they die, they reverberate back into their digital twin form and their consciousness is trapped within prison. Like if you watch Black Mirror, yes, that is the plan.
Network of human consciousness.
This is some goddamn black magic.
Is available.
People don't understand the modern technology of the cybernetic stuff and the perversion of it. It really is just some dark stuff. Which is, it's really ironic. there's certain factions. There's like the Satanist factions. They obviously have a lot of power, but some of them, well, mostly the low levels don't believe in any of the stuff I say, but you get into the deeper stuff with the weirder religions and the weirder occults and these secret societies. No one mentions the real other stuff. Whatever, dude. They're pretty connected these days, especially on the Western Front.
At all times, unquote. It states also on its Facebook page, quote, Horus Maat Lodge began in 1979, becoming one of the first cybernetic orders in 1994. You manifest the double current of Thelema and the future present crossed, Eon of Maat. It also...
Wait. Eon of Maat? No. God, they're really trying to do this whole, God, they keep trying to do this thing. They keep saying like 1,000 years of light, or the 1,000-year reign of Christ, or the 1,000-year reign of the fourth whatever Reich, whatever. They keep trying to do this stuff. So
many other arcane traditions worldwide, including chaos magic, unquote.
Chaos magic. I can't comment too much on chaos magic at the moment. There's the book that I still haven't read. It's called the Liber Null, which means the Book of Nothingness, which seems like a very good book. It tells you the first thing you need to be aware of is that the mind is the precursor to all magic, which is true. The Kybalion says all is of the mental. That's the first rule. Then the second rule is, law of causality, I think. So, yeah. A lot of people just want to pick and choose which rules are which, but they basically operate in a hierarchy fashion. So,
what?
Pleasure. But I do want to read the Liber Null. That is the masterwork by he's like the greatest chaos magician that ever lived. He talked a lot of shit about the British Illuminati. It's pretty funny. So
and delight lie in the working, the whole, surpassing far the parts together, as I stated, which of course is another allusion to the cybernetic global brain future. Quote, Ye have sought the scattered pieces of our Lord, ceasing never to...
Yeah, dude, they're trying to do the Skynet and gets a real Sophia android robot running. Isn't it? Dude, this is goddamn... It's the robot thing from Metropolis, isn't it?
to assemble all that has been. And in the realm of the dead, have ye begotten from the dead the Shining One?
In the realm of the dead, yeah, well, we are actually in the realm of the dead, technically. And then the Egyptians consider life after death, the real living life, not this.
Then gave birth, and nourished him, unquote. This is in reference to the Osiris story, to which his 14 really, parts were reassembled by Isis. Again, she could not find his phallus, and that was the missing part, to which she fashioned a new one out of gold. This is probably where the...
Yeah, and that's why in the old days, they worship phalluses. They had like wiener statues and obelisks everywhere as to wieners of Osiris, for it's the great regenerative whatever thing. Even in the Vedic, like the Shingalingam, that's obviously a vagina. Back in the old days, these people would just worship private parts because they saw it as creative and regenerative forces. And I don't know, was the ancient world really that great if there's like schlongs everywhere and vajayjays as like the Shingalingams of the Vedic?
obelisk symbology comes from. However, it is not a strict symbol of fertility in the deepest meaning of it.
Yeah, it's not fertility. It's actually creation and, regeneration, or the propagation of it, which would have been the feminine axis.
Essentially, as we are discussing the hidden part or the 13th zodiac, we understand that like the syringe or the viper.
Yeah, the 13th zodiac, this would be Ophiuchus. But I mean, people get confused by the zodiac. I mean, that's why they've broken down and simplified it into the 12 even parts, instead of actually looking at the sky for what it is. And it becomes a lot more, complicated. Like the Kabbalistics, I mean, they would have broken down to like the degrees of every 10th slicing. The Greeks use a 10 system. I mean, you can just make up your own systems based upon, like, I like to use my own system where I map out the Kybalion against the chart. So that's what I did.
There's fangs, or other motifs such as this. The missing part is that which pierces the veil of this world and into the next, hence the phallus or obelisk. The hidden part.
Or the magical elixir.
Is that which pierces the veil.
Yeah, piercing the veil, piercing your skin to...
The
I
Akashic
mean, there's actually a lot to the magical elixir, so...
or Sanskrit or etheric records, and that which is beyond us all. Hence, this statement above by Nima is that idea of Lucifer, or the morning star, that which is
Well, I mean, it should be the evening star. I mean, this is the problem that I hear when listening to Salus. I mean, I'm not sure why he's inverting it. The morning star should be, I mean, this is like some old occult shit, right? The morning star should be Jesus. If you were to represent God, on the right hand of God would be, Jesus. The left hand of God would be, Judas, which is his form, representation of his physical incarnation as man, and then Jesus would be the spiritual perfected incarnation, so it's like his opposite, which is why it's very Gnostic. Or you could view it also as Lucifer on the left-hand path, which is also in relationship to, the parts of the brain, because Lucifer is representative of the creative, reflective points of venerations of beauties through the arts, and that's why it's demonized. But I mean, then we had to talk about Jesus as the right-hand path and being related to the left brain. But that's more of a mercurial, logical thing in its respects to the logical, spiritual sciences. You're supposed to bridge both and then get through, the middle path through the pineal gland to get into the kingdom of heaven through the pearly gates. You can also view this as the two pillars access into that of the hidden third pillar. I mean, everybody does this, or the classic Trinity. But it's whatever. I mean, So, I mean, it's more of a relationship. I mean, they also did this in the Greeks, was it? And the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus had Aphrodite and Hermes, and the old guy who was sitting as the third pillar, the hidden pillar, would have been that of the old master.
or potentially Sirius, as we understand it. It's that brightest star before the dawn, the illumination of the new horizon.
Yep, Sirius. It's always brightest before the dawn. I mean, that's an obvious reference to Sirius. It's the dog star.
And they're thinking.
And I'm not sure why he's showing Ahriman right here. I mean, you could actually also reflect Ahriman as the right hand also in the negative, and the logical side. But I mean, it's a lot more complicated because Ahriman is also related into Mars, but reflect it out into the Greek, it'd be Mars and Venus as the hemispheres of the brain. But you can use a lot of different motifs. If you want to use Ahriman, I would suggest you use, you can also use Ahura Mazda. You can do anything. You can do like, Anubis and Set, and then, then Horus would be redeemed as a light form through Osiris. Look, there's 1,000 ways to project this out in like all mythologies. So, for example, Balder is a great one. Balder, Loki, and then Odin, Vodin. So,
I've touched upon this within my...
Even though it really should be, Balder. Well, it's any of the Vanir gods. I'd rather use, Odin, Freya, and then the middle path is, the true afterlife.
Aleister Crowley, Cicada, and Cybernetics video. Now, what I'm about to say will probably blow your mind, but I have been studying this connection as seen above for a while.
What connection?
And it seems I have found a new connection to all of this. Here it goes. As we have Venus or Sirius as the morning star.
The morning... yeah, see, this one I'm confused. The morning star should be Mercury. The evening star should be the evening star should be Venus. They're actually interchangeable because of their relationship to the sun, as they're the closest parts. And the evening star, or Venus, the reason why it's considered beatificated is because it has phases out like the moon. So that's why if you look at the Islamic flag, whatever, it is a a star in the middle and a crescent moon, because it's representing that of the evening star Venus, veneration through beauty. If you look at more Buddhist stuff or Eastern, this has to go with the separation of all spirituality into like constituent parts of religion. So Eastern stuff is a lot more mercurial. That's why, the Buddha is more of a mercurial figure. Jesus is a mercurial figure through the Jupiterian axis. You look at the Roman stuff, or like this Apollonian stuff. They worship like martial order, which gets reflected out into the British. And then the Americans have their own thing with the whole Uranus and Neptune and its classical Poseidon. But whatever, this is a bit complicated, which is why I never talk about this.
We also have Mercury as the evening star. Now, this is why Mercury is considered somewhat correlated with death, due to him being the messenger of death.
Yeah, this is actually technically true, which is why Dionysius, in the Mycenaean Greek mythology, before it got adopted into the Hellenistic form, which is the modern form, he was actually changed from a god of death or something scary to a god of like partying and doing whatever and getting drunk, whatever. In his original form, he was actually related to death, like life and death cycles. And if we project this out against the Greek version, Dionysus would have been, Mercury, or Mercury in relationship to Jupiter, and that's why it's confusing. These things interchange. And then Apollo would have been related to that of Venus. So,
or the guider of souls to Hades. But he was also the god of financial gain and commerce. Now, if we understand that Mercury,
the god of communication and trade,
is death, and Venus is the start of something new, the evening and morning stars.
Yeah, because, technically Mercury is, in the Vedic, Mercury literally translates to Buddha, so we should be aware of this.
And we shall continue. Alas, how does this factor into the medical event we see now? Well, the old medical symbol was once the staff of Asclepius.
Yes, the one
which
snake
is one
staff.
snake coiled around a staff. And this was changed, beginning in the USA, at the turn of the 20th century, to the...
Yeah, it was a change on purpose when they basically created monopolies and set medical standards to basically just control life through money. If people just stopped paying for treatments and stopped trying to prolong death through the fear of death, and just went out, with some dignity, then they wouldn't be in debt. They wouldn't put their family in debt. And then the system of perpetuating suffering through sickness, not trying to cure you, just prolonging it. It's a messed up system. What more can I say? They're not interested in healing you. They're interested in keeping you stable and never healed and forever sick, so they can milk as much money as from you. Yeah, that's why the staff has changed, because this would be the oath to heal people, and this would be the oath to extract and continuate the perpetuation of trade through continual interactions. So,
Odysseus, or the symbol of Mercury. This change was put down to a severe mistake, yes. A severe mistake by the medical...
It was not a severe mistake. It was done on purpose. I remember I listened to Crow a while back, and he pretty much laid it out when they switched over and they pretty much banned all allopathic medicine for modern Western medicine, which is very good if you have an emergency or need surgery. But if you're talking about actually preventive medicine or actually curing stuff, it's not. It's terrible, because they just want to prescribe you medicine.
authorities at the time.
And which is just pharmacia chemicals, so that is correct.
However, the symbol stuck and they continued to utilise it. Thus, we see that the medical system and Mercury are now entwined through symbolism. What day is the day of Mercury? Wednesday.
Wednesday, yay, Wednesday. This is this is also in relation to Scandinavian stuff. Obviously, what is it? Sunday is the sun. Monday is the moon. I do have to explain the whole days of the week thing real quick. Sunday, sun. Monday, moon. Tuesday would be Mars. That's mean, you can also reflect this. Yeah, Thursday is obviously, well, Wednesday is Woden's Day, Odin, which is Mercury. Thursday is, Thor. Thursday, Thor. That'd be Jupiter or whatever. Friday, which it should be Freya or Frigg, whatever, dude. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's the beauty thing, so that's Friday. Saturday, that's Saturn's day. Yeah. So, I mean, if you actually look at the inversion of what's happened, especially in modern era, they're always trying to kill the feminine axis. The feminine axis is that of actual emotion, empathy, and intellect. So that's why they want you to work on Monday, starting Monday through Friday. They want you to take Saturday off. Saturday is Saturn's day, which is the planet of, karma. So on Saturday, I always work, but I like to plan what I do for Saturday just because I follow these rules. Sunday is, people take Sunday off, but Sunday is a, day you should enjoy and do things out, so whatever you want to do. But whatever, I mean, it's complicated. I mean, Tuesday is when you should be doing action. Anything you need to do, you should do on Tuesday because you get a power boost from, Mars. Anytime you need to, think or communicate, whatever you do on a Wednesday. Anything you need to do big or launch big. Like, you ever notice people, they publish their big videos, or Thursday prime time is always the big day because of Jupiter. Friday is where you appreciate beauty, right? Whatever. Yeah, dude, this whole quote unquote esoteric science. I mean, of course they do this. I mean, look, Blind 11, 2001 happened on Tuesday, right? Which would be, I mean, I could be wrong, but god damn it. What day was Yep, Tuesday. And then the next Tuesday would be 2029. So that's when usually they like to do big, flashy events. So yeah, whatever, dude. I don't care anymore. So, I mean, a lot of this whole right now that they're doing with whole medicine and fear and communication to spread like it's viral would have been done on a Wednesday. And they drop things on a Friday so it can be forgotten because people are enjoying their Friday because it's about veneration of beauty, which is Venus. So,
what day was the day that WHO officially declared a medical event?
oh my god,
Wednesday, 11th of March, 2020.
Yeah, dude. I mean, this shit's getting. I mean, honestly, I'm just waiting for 2029 because I know it's a Tuesday. Just like 2001. Come on, let's go.
What day was Omicron supposedly found? Well, December 22nd was the day when the track and trace were working back from, and this was, you guessed it, a Wednesday.
Yeah, which is true, but he did leave one important thing out. It was right after the solar eclipse, which would have been the 15th, and then that's when they started spreading the news on a Wednesday.
The Delta variant. What day did it blow up within the scientific world? 14th of October. Guess what day? A Wednesday. What day did the stealth Omicron story hit, or the BA2?
Yeah, Delta means change, by the way.
The 26th of January 2020. Yes, a Wednesday. What does this mean? Naturally, they see this as an age of night or evening, heralded by Mercury, the evening star.
Heralded by Mercury in its negative form of the morning star in direct relationship to the evening star, which is the trans-identification of Mercury. For example, Mercury, I mean, people get confused. They think that these planets have single attributes. They don't. Mercury can be the Buddha, or he can be Loki, the trickster. In this form, he would be in the Aquarian ushering age. He's obviously yeah, dude, he's just a tranny, man. Whatever, dude. I mean, this is a bit complicated, man. I gotta be careful with my wordage using though, so because of the algorithm.
Hence Biden's discussion of the quote dark winter. It is the end of an era, and they seek to bring in the age of the morning star, that of Lucifer, or the Redeemer.
Yeah, aren't they doing this Build Back Better plan? Yeah, dude, they should be starting once Uranus exits out of Aries, so that's more towards July, towards the dog days of summer. So I gotta check astrology again. I mean, I remember there was a very specific date at the turning point. I think it was like around July 4th to 8th or 12th or something, but I'm pretty sure it's July 8th. But I mean, yeah, dude, I mean, everything's just done to the stars, so.
Of worlds. The illumination of 1,000 points of light. The great work, or great
1,000 points of light. Oh, Jesus will come back down and reign for 1,000 years. It is the 1,000-year reign Reich of whatever. How many times do I have to hear this? All right, 1,000 points of light. God, isn't it even a Chinese thing? The 1,000 points of light through the Confucian Center or something. Whatever, dude. Look, everybody, they keep using this because it works, and then they're trying to establish dominance over the occult. So,
Reset, if you will. The wisdom of the ages and the land.
Orion. Yeah, this is the court of the fairies. You know, it's the story of Orion and what was that? Yeah, there's Orion and Oberon. The War of the Midsummers, whatever is that play. It's the War of the Fairies, of the Winter Fairies, with Summer Fairies. I mean, I don't have time to explain Orion. I mean, Orion's much more important than people think. It's like the birthing place of the nebula of this galaxy. And then, I mean, when the Anunnaki, they ran from whatever, or the angels, they went back to Orion. So this would be more likely when people actually think of heaven, of the gods, or the Elohim, or the angels. And then there's a whole connection of Orion to Sirius and other relatable things. So.
Of total balance, total equality, whatever that may entail.
Total balance, total equality, if I remember from The Secret Destiny of Man, it is considered the order of the quest. Democracy by any means necessary. Alright, I'm gonna give you peace and freedom from Uncle Sam, even if I have to Minecraft your whole village. Yes, this total democracy by any means necessary. I mean, I find it so strange that Manly P. Hall was, touching himself to the idea of the League of Nations and a worldwide democracy, and then using, the American prototypical model as a front. So, but then these days, people are trying to break it down as there's a shifting of empire to fight. Whatever, dude, it's a goddamn shit show, clown show, or I call it the Great Wizarding War. He who gets the prize of whatever gets control of everything, whatever, dude. It's because we're in a technotronic time clock.
Within their twisted thinking, lo, how they get there is plagued with terrifying insanity, of course. Quote, when Sirius is the morning
and the tactic is called Hegelian dialectic or order of chaos. So you see a lot of chaos right now. They're trying to push people. You push the lemmings berserk around, and then it is the job of the enlightened ones to rearrange the lemmings. Yeah, dude. And then, they'll do it through algorithms.
star to us. It's the morning star to the round world. Its sunrise greets in turn, nation after nation westward. So too its herald, the bright and morning star, beams in turn on every land, unquote. It seems that the ancients seem to see them as the same entities. But
they see them as reflections of each other. For example, the sun, what is it? The moon is a reflection of the sun, and then the moon is actually considered electromagnetic. The sun is considered electric, masculine, which is why the chicken or the rooster, whatever, is in relationship. God damn it. Okay, dude. How many times did I show this picture? Isn't the Chinese zodiac the rooster? It should be at the Cancer here because the rooster is the most electrical of animals. It is considered the electric chicken because at high noon it does that screeching thing. Because it is in relationship to that of the sun. Which is the point here as the psychopod. Yeah, it is like towards, is it July? Whatever it is, around the dog days of summer. So, but this is also can be considered feminine because of the scarab or the sea crab, whatever. I mean, there's a lot to astrology, but I don't think I have enough time to explain in this video. So yeah. But yeah, it's also the Tetragrammaton. There's the blazing star, which, I mean, look, Sirius has a lot of names. Blazing star, black star, whatever. The morning star's reflections of that onto Venus. Venus phases out like the moon. Earth itself is a Bardo of a breakoff from the moon. There's the missing planet of Lucifer that got basically nuked out during. I mean, the moon got nuked out too, and then Lucifer got dusted during the war in heaven. Whatever. There's Mars, which is basically that's where the Gigi were from. I mean, everyone thinks the atmosphere on Mars is red. It's not. You should watch that weird movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger where it's actually the atmosphere is actually blue beyond the dusting. But then people will say it's like a dead planet. There's different vibrational stuff. I mean, but this is just too weird. I mean, I can't really talk about this, can I? Now that I think about it.
Change deity or name.
Jupiter is the current king, and it should be Apollo in the next coming age. So, but then Apollo can also be referenced to the sun. So it's different phases of reflections of the sun itself. So most people would know it simply as the moon, the sun, and then Sirius. But even the planets together has their own connection links to the sun, and the sun is the whole symbol of the 666, and it's basically its own interconnected, self-contained metaverse around the sun. I mean, that's why they focus on this whole heliocentric thing. So,
when they appeared in either the shade of the moon or the light of the sun. Quote, Mercury and Venus, there is never such
okay, dude, I mean, I'll pull out the Tetragrammatron again, because I know I said a lot of stuff, so you might be very confused, because honestly, I did not explain it well. What the hell is a Tetragrammatron? Yeah, dude. Yeah, see, this is the eclipsing through the dark side of the moon. This is the sun in its blazing form once it's been covered and reacting to that of the red sun, which would have been classically as a reference to Saturn, and it's being basically transitioned off and powered through the black light of the invisible rainbow moon, diamond, whatever dog star of this emanation. So, yeah, dude, that's the Tetragrammatron. You notice the Yedhad. I mean, whatever, dude. I mean, this shit's just too annoying to talk about at this point.
ambiguity, as they are never very far away from the sun in the sky. In fact, in the pre-Christian era, both of these planets had dual identities, two names, as initially it was not realised that they alternately appeared on one side of the sun and then on the other. Mercury was called Apollo when it shone as a morning star, and was called Mercury when it appeared in the evening sky. Venus was Phosphorus in the morning and Hesperus in the evening. We can thank Pythagoras around the 5th century BC for pointing out that.
Yeah, that's also true, but I like to think of it as Apollo and Dionysius. That's easier to understand, or the relationship between, Hermes and Aphrodite. I mean, that's why you should study mythology. If you look at the Vedic, the Vedic views Mercury as a transsexual identity, like Shiva, and then I forgot what the names of the other planets were in Mars and Venus. I mean, there's a natural correlation. So Mars would be the androgynous form, Venus is the feminine form, and then Mars is the masculine form, and then you get the first initial trinity of the planets that way. And the other trinity that we know would be the sun, the moon, and Sirius. And then there's a whole relationship between the king and the dead king of Sauron, whatever, which is Saturn. But then there's other relationships. But then they have a natural trinity too, with the whole Jupiter, Saturn, and Uranus. Actually, I keep forgetting Neptune, because that's the original idea of Neptune, Zeus, and Kronos, and then you have Uranus, above him, and then through that is Pluto, the gateway of transformation and death. So, that's why understanding Greek mythology is very important. If you noticed, at least, they all worship Greek and Roman mythology a lot. So,
Hesperus and Phosphorus were really one and the same. As you can see, death and life, these various dualities, like Venus and Hesperus, or
death and light and darkness, male and female. Okay, yeah.
Mercury and Apollo.
We live in a dualistic system, so
we're all but the same. Continuing on, we have Sirius, though, which is always the morning star, or referred to as such, it seems. Quote,
it should not be referred to as the morning star. That's a bit confusing. In the classical, they refer to as the blazing star, the dog star, or the black star, or the clear light star, whatever. I'm actually suspicious of the Tibetan Book of the Dead, where they say, "Oh, find the black light of the clear light of the colorless rainbow star." Excuse me, the Tibetan Book of the Dead is referring to Sirius. Come on, man.
Owing to the flood's own irregularity, the extreme precision of the star's return made it important to the ancient Egyptians, who worshipped it as the goddess Sopdet. This is where the Kabbalistic term Sephiroth probably comes from. Sopdet, Sephiroth, of which
he actually says something very important, because he's relating back to the Egyptian idea of Kabbalism before the Hebraic Like in Kabbalism, the word itself literally means the study of the shadows, study of the occult or the unknown in the Egyptian. So it was much more complex during the Egyptian time, and it's been changed over to the understanding through the Hebraic word magic, whatever, later. So, I mean, if you actually understood the idea of the Kabbalism, the Ka, the Ba, the Kaaba, the soul, the body, and the occult anatomy of man, in accordance to the Egyptian metaphysics of the soul, it's very different than what you get in modern Kabbalism, post-Egyptian. So,
which then turned into triangle or pyramid within Greek. Sothis continued.
if you paid attention to the Sephiroth tree, if you actually transfixed the Sephiroth
term
tree,
Sephiroth probably comes from Sopdet Sephiroth, of which
I mean, this
then
is
turned
important.
into triangle or pyramid.
see the Sephiroth tree, this is the laying out of the Sephiroth tree upon a 2D plane. It's like the movie Contact, you're looking at it wrong. If you transcribe it in its natural form of the 3D, 4D, whatever, it becomes a Tesseract, like in a Marvel, okay?
Within Greek. Sothis, continuing on, which is the guarantor of the fertility of the land.
It's the pentagram, you know the deal. Earth, wind, water, fire, ether, which is spirit, so.
And Sirius, that is. Unquote. So again,
I mean, just so that, if you want to go to Universal Studios, Epic Universe, they're going to build out their park to earth, air, water, fire, and the Grand Hotel of Helios's ether, which is also the soul and the sun. So, I mean, it's very interesting, the occult things I'm seeing that's coming out of Universal Studios.
again, a triangular pyramid, very strange. Manly P. Hall has this to say of the Pyramid of Wisdom, and the rising through it via 7 stages. Quote,
7 stages, dude, that's 7 stages of man. 7 laws of the Kabbalion, the 7 stages of blah blah blah, heptagram, the walking through the 72 blocks of the Tetractys, whatever, and the uncapped is the actual enlightening of the uncapped pyramid, which is the perfection of your spirit state back to a Legend of Zelda fairy light mode. So yeah.
the ancient Greeks observed that the appearance of Sirius as the morning star heralded the hot and dry summer, and feared that the star caused plants to wilt, men to weaken.
I mean, I wish we would just call it what it is, the black star or the blazing star. The blazing star, to me, is the best word for Sirius.
And women to become aroused, unquote.
Aroused,
The season following the star's reappearance came to be known as the Dog Days, unquote.
The dog days, also known as the dog days of summer, which would be, July 4th is an homage to Sirius, and also to, Leo, as it holds upon the sun in its paw, and then it's the predecessor to it. But I mean, whatever, the dog days of summer, it sort of begins around that time, and then it cycles out through like late July into early August. It's literally called the dog days of summer. If you watch what's that movie, Under the Silver Lake, yeah, it's a lot about the dog days of summer. Like, that's when it takes place in. And if you notice, the Ascensionist cult people, they're trying to basically Minecraft themselves or die during the dog days of summer, or do their little ritual in the underground pyramid. So
hence the dog star, Sirius.
yep,
Quote,
dog star.
If it rose clear,
The double diamond dog star. If we look at the wise men, the story of the wise men, there's actually 3 stars next to Sirius. So the wise men, do I have to explain Christmas? Christmas is actually about Sirius, all right? If you face towards going east on the day of Christmas, where are you facing towards? Sirius. 3 wise men lead you to Sirius. I mean, to me, this is obvious. I mean, there's the whole Mason thing. Oh, hello, fellow traveler. Oh, which direction are you heading, brother? Oh, fellow traveler, I'm heading east. Yes, obvious a relationship to Sirius.
clear, it would portend good fortune. If it was misty or faint, then it foretold or emanated pestilence, unquote. Similar to what we are going through now, maybe. It was said of Plato's initiation by Manly P. Hall into these mysteries of Hermes.
Yeah, and Plato also got initiated. Yeah, everyone got initiated in Arthemata because of the Pythagorean mystery schools during the day. I mean, the Greeks were really into mystery schools. I mean, Man P. Hall is so strange. I mean, he talks about the initiation of Plato. I mean, when I read in The Secret Destiny of America, when he talked about the initiation of Jesus Christ in the Pyramid of Giza, I was shocked. I mean, it's very few sources that I ever hear initiations of certain people. Like it's obvious what's going on. I mean, well, whatever, the deal, it all started with Pythagoras from the Greek form. But even that was carried over from, Atlantis.
Spirit resided in Mercury. Hermes being synonymous with the Kemetic Thoth, or Roman Mercury, of course. was crucial to this
Yeah, Thoth. Thoth would have been the son of Enki, Ningazina from the Sumerian. Yes.
cult of the pursuit and selective transmission of the divine occult wisdom. Quote, W. Marsham Adams calls the Great Pyramid, quote, the house of the hidden places, unquote. Such indeed it was, for it represented the inner sanctuary of Egyptian wisdom. By the
Yeah, dude, it's a soul consciousness design. There's an underchamber. It's like, people. Look, I gotta tell you a secret, right? The pyramid, it's really a plumb bob, right? There's an upside down pyramid underneath, right? It's a plumb bob from the movie The Nines or The Sims thing. They have it's plumb bob. A plumb bob is a double pyramid, one upright, one downright, and it's connected together. So,
Egyptians, the Great Pyramid was associated with Hermes or Thoth, the god of wisdom and letters.
yeah, dude, it was his consciousness astral traveling spaceship. So, and also powered up as a energy source system powered through by astral energies of the stars when it was active. So,
And the divine illuminator,
but I mean, it was mainly used for elevation of consciousness.
worshipped through the planet Mercury. We have this reoccurring theme, concurrent with Lucifer, or Ahriman. Continuing on.
That's not correct. He says Lucifer is Ahriman. That is absolutely not correct. Ahriman is actually the Martian identity of what you know as the devil. And then in the modern Christian, they demonize Lucifer, even though he's considered the light bringer of knowledge. And if you demonize knowledge, then, I'm suspicious of you. Like, a lot of people misunderstand what the devil is. I mean, there's different forms of the devil. The red horn guy, whatever, that'd be like Typhon. There's Ahriman, which is this demiurge thing. That's like that thing in the beginning of iPad Go 2. It's very, systematic, anti-human. It's basically like the Skynet identity. Lucifer is the arrogance of the light through knowledge without, whatever, dude. It's just as complicated. And then there's obviously the big daddy in the room, which is a big daddy spider. So, what I call Mickey Mouse, Jabulon, the Lord of Form of Power. So, look, everybody thinks, the devil is one thing when it's really not. Like, people say, Lucifer and blah, blah, blah. Look, man, you want to know what the devil looks like? How's the devil? Yeah, dude, people think the devil's the Baphomet. No, dude, you want to face the devil in the astral plane? Go meet my boy Jabulon. I'll give you a good referral. So, okay, whatever, dude. It's complicated talking about these things because people can't wrap their minds around Ahriman, which is the enemy to Ahura Mazda, which is like more like a Martian evil entity, the evil entity negative force of certain things. Like Lucifer would be, but they worship Lucifer though, so I don't want to say anything too negative. People misinterpreted the Satan thing, which can be bad. That's actually a Yama, the Lord of Karma, which is in the processing force of judgment next to Osiris in the classical Egyptian, which devours your soul into material form and sends you back onto Earth plane if you're a piece of shit. So, or just ignorant. So yeah. But whatever, dude. I could talk more about this later if I ever do my variety show on the devil. So,
relating Hermes to the pyramid emphasizes anew the fact that it was, in reality, the supreme.
Yeah, it's also like Anu and Padme. Anu would have been the progenitor god, which would have been from the Sumerian. So yeah, so that's correct. Which is where you get the idea of Anunnaki, like the people of Anu. So, who basically came over from whatever another dimension to mine loose gold, whatever.
Temple of the invisible and supreme deity. The Great Pyramid was not a lighthouse.
What? The supreme deity? That would be the supreme architect of the universe. So, whatever, dude. I can talk about that later.
An observatory or a tomb.
It's not an observatory tomb. It's a Kabbalistic. Could you call it Kabbalistic? They like to take credit for it. But it's the whole to track these things of the Tetragrammatron. So, which leads you back to quote-unquote source once you reach to divine illumination. So,
but the first temple of the mysteries, the first structure erected, is a repository for those secret truths, which are the certain foundation of all arts and sciences. It was
yeah, that's true. And the Sphinx underneath the Sphinxes leads you to their nerve portals in the hall of records, or I guess that's really what the Akasha records is referring to. So,
the perfect emblem of the microcosm and the macrocosm, and, according to the secret teachings, the tomb of Osiris.
Okay, right here, the eagle is supposed to be a phoenix. Okay. You have like a little owl here of Athena. There's some cobwebs for Jabulon. This is the 72 blocks of the Tetracthes of the uncapped pyramid, and the capped pyramid is the illumination. I mean, they're trying to do this great work plan right now through the connection of all consciousness on Earth, and blah blah blah, and democracy. I mean, I don't give a shit. I mean, they can do whatever they want at this point. I mean, I'm done associating with the lemmings in human form. So
The black god of the
I guess I got Buddha when the Buddhists. I mean, Buddha and the Zen Buddhists. They don't give a shit about this at all.
Nile. We discussed that previously. Cyrus represents a certain manifestation of solar energy, and therefore his house or tomb is emblematic of the universe within which he is entombed, upon the cross of which he is crucified, through the mystic passageways and
Yeah, dude, it's been like 40 plus something crucified saviors. Wasn't Quetzalcoatl crucified also? Or they just journey through the desert and stuff? Like, what is it? Jesus went to the desert, the Buddha went to the forest and only ate like whatever, and he got met with the Kamamara, and then they did the temptations of the earth. I mean, same story, really. Thoth is the same thing through the desert, and there's a scorpion. Okay, what's this? What is this? Heads?
chambers of the Great Pyramid, past the illumined of antiquity.
Well,
They entered its portals as men. They came forth.
yeah, we enter this portal, which is your mother's womb as men, and you're supposed to use this place as a launching pad for the soul, for your experience on here, which you carry through yourself past death through judgment. So,
As gods. It was the place of the second birth, the womb of mysteries, and wisdom dwelt in it, as
Yeah.
God dwells in the hearts of men.
yeah, God dwells in the hearts of men through consciousness and intuition, or your access to the pineal gland through your spirit. Yes, this is true. And then, every religion pretty much has this resurrection thing. What is it? Jesus has the resurrection. Buddha basically has a resurrection when his man form died in the forest because he gave into asceticism and then realized the divine truth of everything. Quetzalcoatl, same thing. Yeah, dude, it's when Thoth left to America and enlightened the Native Americans. Yeah.
Somewhere in the depths of its recesses, there resided an unknown being, who was called the Initiator, or the Illustrious One, robed in blue and gold, and bearing in his hand the sevenfold key of eternity.
Blue and gold. Yeah, blue, gold, and white. That's the natural colors of Mason or silver. So,
This was the lion-faced Hierophant, the Holy One, the Master of Masters, who never left the House of Wisdom, and whom no man ever saw, save he who had passed through the gates of preparation and purification. It was in
is this Hiram Abiff? Is that Hiram Abiff?
these chambers that Plato, he of the broad brow, and face to face with the wisdom of the ages, personified in the Master of the Hidden House, unquote. Secret Teachings of All Ages, page 112 to 113.
Secret
On
Teacher
this
of All
point of the
Ages.
lion-faced
Yeah, dude, we gotta pick either Count of Saint Germain or Hiram Abiff. Which one?
Hierophant, we have the idea of the Mithraic Leontocephaline, which later developed into the Baphomet. Again, Leontocephaline is simply the lion-faced god, which is equivalent to
Yeah, to the Mithraic cults. Yeah.
the lion-faced Hierophant.
I mean, the Mithraic cults is the reason why people go to church on Sunday through the worship of Mithra as it's worship of the sun, or the Babylonian coding of the sun, which is 666. I mean, that's why they introduced mainstream religion. They told the Egyptian plebtards and the slaves and the peasants and the mainstream, TV watchers that, oh yeah, dude, just worship the sun, while we secretly worship, Sirius and Deneb and Orion and the Tetragrammatron, you dumb plebs, because we know the whole process of the incarnation of the soul and continuation of a conscious man on the perfected state of the golden whatever, blah, blah, blah. You get the deal. So, I mean, in the modern sense, I mean, people have demonized it a lot. I mean, the Buddhist sense, I mean, we just chill out. It's not that big of a deal,
Moreover, we have the idea of through the gates of preparation and purification. This was something
Preparation, purification, clearing out your neuroses. I would say this all the time. Purification of the soul, actualization of the soul, liberation of the soul from its physical incarnation body through death, and you go on the journey. So, yeah, preparation. I mean, you should be prepared. I mean, that's why people on my channel in the first place. So,
again that was seen within the Eleusinian mysteries and the Pythagorean cult.
the
which
Lucinian
different-
mysteries and the Pythagorean cults, yeah, Pythagorean mystery schools. And that's like a lot of geometry stuff and mathematics stuff. So, I mean, it'll make it easier. So, as long as we don't have to deal with the angles, guardians of the dead, Haraka, dog, demon things.
Or somewhat.
Or in Aline's case, I mean, She's kind of an idiot. She walked right into a trap, and she met some Bender Disney Realm Imagineers that was trying to strip mine her soul for Loosh. So, if you haven't watched my Pink Elephant birthday special, or my first one, yeah, with the, yeah, I mean, that's the Dark Side of the Moon cover. Yeah, that's a good one. So, I mean, she had a death experience.
Between their ideas of individualism and the collective essence.
Mm-hmm.
However,
individualism, collective, yeah. No man is his own island, but you're still an individual, so you need to find a balance between both. If you're too individualistic, you're too selfish. If you're, too collectivist, then you basically don't have your own soul identity and you're quote-unquote selfless, then you're supposed to bridge the gap, find balance. That's what a lot of people lack these days. Like, you look at the, the communitarian, SJW, communists, they're too... they're too collectivist. You look at the upside of the coin, these people that are hoorah, a lot of gusto and selfish, and I do what I want. They lack, any communitarianism at all. They're too individualistic and selfish. I mean, that's why you need to work within your own like-minded group and find a middle path and go upwards instead of swinging left and right.
this preparation and purification is typically what we're going through now. Alchemy has a similar idea of which I discussed and touched upon within my Kabbalah series.
Alchemy.
That idea of putrefaction and purification.
Yeah, putrefaction or purification. And scientific, you understand as entropy, the law of entropy. Nothing wants to be at the state at the nothing wants to stay at its current state of form because of where energy direction goes. So you have a constant instability or instability, whatever, if you stay at the same point. So you can either decay or you can perfect. So you can either go up or down. But obviously everything wants to go to a state of going down because that way it relaxes into its resting state form. But through will, which is the whole point of being a man, you're supposed to learn and perfect up, which is where we get this idea of the perfected state of man or enlightenment or whatever, ascension. Oh my god.
So one has to die to then be reborn anew. The same motif occurs and reoccurs within every religion known to man. Most assuredly.
And every occult, secret society group. I mean, these days, they don't really do much. They throw you down a goddamn trapdoor. That's it. Back in the old days, they buried you for a week and then dug you back up and see if you're still alive. The success rate back in the old days, like the ancient times, where they actually did these mock death rituals. Half the time the people did not live through this, and that was the first initiation. I swear to God, things are way too easy these days.
Assuredly that of the Abrahamic religions. For example, Muhammad went into a cave, into the darkness, into Hades.
It's not just Abrahamic religions, it's every religion, even the Japanese. What was it though? Izanagi went through the land of the dead. Buddha went through the forest and he was basically almost dead. Jesus walked through the desert and then came out. It's like every religion. It's not just one religion. People got to get this through their minds.
And re-emerged as a prophet, a living god, and messenger of the gods. Of which
they even showed this in was it King Darius or his son, whatever, dude? It was in the movie 300, the second one, where basically you saw the rising of the golden god king who fights Sparta. He went through the mystics. God, it's 300, whatever, Rise of an Empire, I forgot what it's called, but basically, look, you saw him come out as a man. He was a prince. He went through the mystics and near-death states and near-death experiences and into the desert and encapsulated himself with secret rituals. Then he came out back as a giant god king. Yes, every religion does this. This is, people, they're obsessed with this state of, near-death and forcing your pineal gland to activate so you become an awakened being. That's what this is, where you are not the animal man and you become more of a godlike being because of the activation of the realization of your spirit in physical form. So, this is what real initiation is all about. So,
Hermes was. Moreover, too, we have Christ who was crucified and resurrected, whom died, went into the eternal abyss, and then was reborn anew or resurrected, pushing away the stone and leaving the cave. We see the same thing within Plato.
Oh, yeah. Okay, this is through the void of the murky waters of the dark oblivion, and then come back out, so.
The cave analogy. You can see this probably stemmed from his initiation into the mystery schools. Continuing on, clearly, Mercury has a role to play within this occult plan. It may be that the pagan mysteries never ceased. They merely donned the robes of the Christian priest rather than the pagan divinator.
What? Ding, ding, ding. Everything rhymes. It doesn't mean it changes much. So. But to be fair, I mean, if you paid attention to people who were really into the Egyptian stuff, they got really annoyed that the light of Egypt got perverted and then got basically dumbed down for the masses. And then eventually, I mean, I say this all the time, but it pisses people off. I mean, there's coming a day where the mainstream religions of the modern era die and they'll be replaced with what you see now, which is science, and they're trying to do like the mixture of, Christianity, Islam, and Buddhism, trying to mix everything together and do some sort of one world savior thing, it'll probably be some goddamn meta android or something. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they could do anything at this point. I mean, I'll believe anything. I will believe that they will do anything, like anything really stupid.
You see that in The Secret Teaching of All Ages, and it states, quote, "When placed in the centre of a weather vane, it signifies the sun, in the midst of the four corners of creation. The Greeks sacrificed a rooster to the gods at the time of entering the Eleusinian Mysteries. Sir Francis Bacon is supposed to have died as the result of stuffing a fowl with snow. May this..."
Yeah, then he tried to create, what's that thing that everyone thinks that Walt Disney did? It's where you go in like a deep freeze, whatever. Yeah, to be an immortal. I mean, that's probably an allegory. It's a reference to the rooster, the chicken, the fowl, the electric chicken towards the dog days of summer towards July. This is an initiatory process through when Sirius is actually in view of the world, which would be in the summer. So, and when you also face it east in Christmas. So, and there's other things that happen in the summer. Like for example, Deneb only comes into view in late August, early September, and then it has to do with astrology or astronomy.
Not signify Bacon's initiation into the pagan mysteries, which still existed in his day.
Well, initiation into the pagan mysteries, I mean, for the record, Francis Bacon was the leader of all the mystery schools, and Rosicrucianism, the guy, he is Shakespeare. I believe he was the illegitimate son of the Queen, and he was the primary editor for the King James Bible. Hello, that's why he wrote his signature of Shakespeare into it. There's so much to Sir Francis Bacon and like the Codex Rega, whatever, the Codex of Everything. That's a super secret book. The planning of America as the great philosophical kingdom to bring out the great work of the New Atlantis. What? Did he just say that he was just an initiatory into pagan mysteries? It's much more to Sir Francis Bacon. So, I swear to God, a lot of the mystery schools, the people at the very top don't even know what's going on because it was only allowed through 3 families to know. God, what was it? It's Sir Francis Bacon, a Sinclair, and a Carlyle, I believe. It's been a long time since I looked into this, so. I blame John Dee and his meeting with Raphael or the interdimensional alien, so, I swear to God.
Unquote. Peculiar.
Why did I even look into this shit? This shit's, useless.
Show that all of these various religions are but incarnations of the one originating religion.
The one originating religion, yes, which would be the religion of the Anunnaki, of the god kings and the Elohim. Where they seeded and created man, yes, as a likeness of themselves. There were 40 multi-dimensional light beings that came out and basically colonized the solar system. You know them as the Greek, the Roman gods. All these things come back to one singular source. Then it basically got divided out like the 7 Dragon Balls, and then each area gets its own Dragon Ball of oh my God, Rome gets Rome 2, Britain gets Mars. The Christians, they get the Jupiter Dragon Ball. The Easterners, they get the Mercury Dragon Ball. Dude, it's a goddamn story of the Dragon Balls. And you need all 7 Dragon Balls to bring upon Shenron to learn all the mysteries of all ages. Okay.
Well, we can only speculate on such a matter.
Yeah, dude, it has to do with it's the pre-Egyptian stuff, the parents to look, it's the story of Enki and Enlil, all right. Which is where everything originates from. Enki is the father of Thoth. So, yes.
On the final topic, We see that the truck convoy heading to Ottawa and seemingly appearing around the world, from the Netherlands to Germany and Italy,
Ooh,
with a further
it's Illuminati card game. Oh shit. Dude, I don't have time to look up the Illuminati card. There's too much of them. Like, I have them on my hard drive somewhere.
increasing of supply chain issue stories.
Of course, dude. I mean, this is a long-term plan. I mean, do people really not understand the long-term plan with the truck stop thing? It'll keep inflation up. It'll break down the supply chain even further, make you more desperate and, despise materialism that Congo try to spiritually align you again, like with Saturn, where they took away your bread and circuses, the material stuff. And at the same time, food prices will go up, and then it causes agitation to basically force people into a state of a revolutionary mind. Oh my God, guys. It's the Christian Patriot Truthers. We're finally winning, guys. They're buckling in their boots. They're scared. These are not elites are in hiding. We're winning, guys. We're winning. We have the power. Power to the people. All planned. I mean, the final end goal is obvious. I mean, self-driving trucks, full automation, automation of vehicles, good road system. I mean, they pretty much got people used to it, like Ubers. It's like the whole, you'll have nothing, you'll be happy. They want you to rent out things or pay licenses so you won't own a car, and you can just tap your phone and the automatic driving car will come up to you. One day they want to restructure the RMV, DMV to get rid of all the licenses so no one can have a personal car. I mean, this is the plan, but they need, in order to get self-driving automation vehicles and fully in step, still the data gathering through Uber and stuff and through China because of the complexity of the road structures there. And then eventually they want to move into a Gattaca system where you won't be able to own a license to drive a car or a motorcycle. I mean, their plan it's been moved up. I mean, they could probably do it by 2030, to be honest. And then because the X factor is human, they need humans out of the equation. And then we're moving to a system which is anti-human system, which is why there's much plans in between for magical elixir, the technotronic future, I mean, don't just keep talking about this. It's this brave new world.
Like the driver testing issue that is causing heavy good truck congestion on borders. It seems that this is leading to the narrative for the driverless trucks,
Ding,
controlled
ding,
by
ding.
AI, presumably.
Ding, ding, ding.
Naturally, this is why Elon Musk came out in support of the Canadian truckers or the Freedom Convoy on Twitter. It suits his interests for
I know, dude. They're using the truthers for the useful idiots that they are. All right. I mean, it's great. I mean, they did it with the whole, the January 6th thing, with the Q-tards. I mean, they're going to keep using the Christian Patriot Truthers for the useful idiots they are to bring about a revolution and a reshifting change into the Great Reset while they think that they're fighting the Great Reset. They'll throw a red herring boogeyman with the magical elixir, trick everyone. It was a fake out. They got bigger plans in the end, which is the technological time clock. All right. I mean, I always say, check an 8, because people have no idea what game they're playing.
driverless Tesla trucks. It is the same old
And
tactic.
the best part is I swear to God. I mean, I don't know what's wrong with people. Like, they think Mr. T is going to save them. He's on their side. Like, are these people stupid?
One always uses upon their enemies. The same one used on January 6th to retreat, like Trudeau has done, to then embolden the attackers.
Yes, embolden the truthers. Embolden these idiots. All right, useful idiots are, the paving forward for the revolution, which basically destroys everyone else's standards of living. And then, I mean, it's always been this way, whether it be the 10% tards on the left or 10% tards on the right. They shift the pendulum and then do this order out of chaos. And everyone gets caught up in the middle are just the normal people, like the 80% of people. I mean, it's whatever. I mean, but at the end of the day, I mean, I always say blame the little man. I mean, there were options or ways to play about the system, but everyone at the end of the day, they wanted to be beneficiaries of dictatorships, and thus we were stuck in the mess that we're in. Like, people pissed me off recently, like, be safe, stay safe, stay safe. Like, dude, are you dumb? You're reinforcing this communitarianism word magic that they've been doing since the beginning.
And entice them into a trap, leading them to believe that they are winning the battle, to inevitably lay waste to them in the kill zone prepared, like the lemons that they are.
Yeah, lemmings that they are. I mean, dude, this is too easy to see. Look at Bunny Ranch. It's too easy to see. All right. I mean, talk about a honey trap. I mean, straight up honey trap. All right. Like, I'm serious. Like, my God.
They fall for this
Like, if I recall correctly, Jonesy was one leading the January 6th thing.
and follow the hare.
Because he commanded 2 groups and then they walked right in. I mean, that was a violation, R word, of the feminine axis of America, which is the Senate, because that's a breast. Just like the phallus of the Washington Monument would have been the masculine axis. So, yes. Actually, this is actually the inversion of the whole civil rights movement. Remember, they did the march onto the Washington Monument, had the speeches at the Washington Monument, and it was peaceful speech, but this time they did a violent, well, I mean, people say it was not violent, but whatever they did, then they marched onto the feminine axis. This is a goddamn 60-year ritual, isn't it? Yeah, dude, it's a 60-year ritual. So, yeah, before it was March on Washington, now it's the inverse of the 60s, where they did a march on the Senate, which is the breast feminine axis. I mean, this is all a great ceremonial, magical Egyptian ritual upon the Egyptian necropolis of DC, yes.
all the way over the precipice, with a great deal of strange symbology too within this entire event, along with the huge amounts of donations on GoFundMe,
Yeah.
and that same GoFundMe page set up by individuals that are within the political system to a certain degree, and the tacit permittance of this via the Ottawa Police Force.
Yeah, dude, you're basically watching, I mean, what can I say? I mean, this is pre-fronting and they want to shift over to America. You're basically watching the pre-fronting for the Civil War in America.
Of which, in any other setting, would violently disperse these crowds, as we see throughout the ostensible quote-quote free world.
Dude, I'll say it again. I mean, China wants the blue states, Russia wants the red states. They're teaming up to gangbang the USA. I mean, I've said it before.
In other words, this looks like the setting up of a problem. As I have stated in other videos, the number 222 is very important to this entire hermetically
222.
derived religion.
Yeah, that is the 2 pillars threefold. So yes.
And 2022, or February the 2nd, 2022, is a date to watch out for, I would suggest.
Oh, is that
And
today?
tonight I believe this event may have something to do with that.
Oh, it's
Recall
today.
2022 shall be a Wednesday, after all.
A
And
Wednesday.
Wednesdays seem to be somewhat significant to the arc of this narrative thus far.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, dude, Tuesday, I mean, yeah, 222 is a big deal. There's also 444. There's 311 to 321. There's the stuff in July. There's May 25th. Look, there's a bunch of dates for today. I mean, this year. So, all right, whatever, dude. I hope you enjoy my react to Silas. I enjoy Silas. He is like the only person I listen to, but he is still the baby. He is. I mean, that's a problem. I mean, that's why I try not to listen to anyone else, because then I just get very frustrated. Okay, so I hope you enjoy this video, and then I do apologize to Jose, but I might have to wait for yours tomorrow because I've just made 2 very long videos. All right. Hope you guys have a nice day, and goodbye. And if you like these videos, then please give me shekels. All right, and happy Chinese New Year's. Bye. Peace. Hee hee.